All right, so let's take a look at a review of arrays, and we'll start off with array lists, and then what we'll do is we'll move on to generics and how they can be used and why we need them. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these two variables here, and I can actually get rid of these as well. All right, so let's start off by creating an array list. So start off by writing array list, and what you'll notice is you get an error because you need to implement. So I'm going to hit Alt Enter here, see what the issue is. Let's see, the tape name is going to be found. So let's click on this. It says systems collections.ArrayList. You can click on that, and you can add it that way, or you can just highlight this here, or you can type using system.collections, and then close that off, and now we don't need this anymore. And we'll have access to all of the collections data structures. So I'm going to go ahead and name this A list here, and I'm just going to make that equal to a new array list. Let's get rid of that V. So this is how you create a new array list object. Now, say we want to add an element to this, right? So I'm going to go A list dot add, and we'll add a number 1 here. And then I'm going to duplicate this a couple times and just change these out to 2 and 3. Now, if we want to loop through each one of these lists, we can use something like a for loop or a for each loop. So let's start off with a for each loop. And the way it works is you write the word for and then each. And what you're saying here is for each element in an array. So what do we know? Well, I know these are integers here, and they're 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to type in int, and I equals, and then what am I searching through? So as I'm searching through my list here, right, what I can do is I can print out each of those lines, right? So I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to dump it inside this for each loop here. So I'll have to press enter after each one plays. Well, actually, let's throw this outside here. That way, because that can get kind of annoying, especially while I'm demoing this. Let's put this out here. And I'm just going to change right line to, well, let's do plus I, and then current value is. All right, so we should get 1, 2, 3 to the screen. So I'm going to save that and hit F5. Hopefully we don't have any errors. And you can see we get current value is 1, 2, 3. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a space here, and I'm going to stop my program. Now, the problem with this is, say somebody else is accessing your code or accessing this list, and they're throwing things in there, and they're being a little reckless. Notice that we have an int, or we're searching through ints, right? And what's nice about lists, if you needed them, is you can actually put in different things. So for example, I can actually throw a string in here. So I'll name it exo. Now watch what happens when I run this code. I get an exception unhandled error. Specified cast is not valid. Notice it hit the 3 marks, but once it got down to here, it gave me this error. And the reason for this is I'm searching through integers to get to this point. So let me go ahead and close this and stop this. So what's nice is C# has this thing called generics, which means we can constrain this to a specific type. All right, so let's take a look at this. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this, hit Control K and C to comment it out. We also have this button here, these buttons up here in case you're a button person. What I can do is I can actually create a generic version of this array list. And by doing that, you just simply write the word list. And then I create the angle brackets, less than and greater than. And then I can specify in here int. So now any element that I add to this has to be an int. So I'm going to just steal this word here, a list, and I'm going to say equals a new list of ints. And I want to make sure that this is in here so that we can access any sort of constructor. So here we go. So a list, I'm going to copy these, and then I'm just going to uncopy these here. Oops, let's make sure we didn't copy all three of them. And now what we can do is, all right, so let's run the program. So you can see it's the same output, but if I try to add something like this, the error is caught at compile time instead of running. You'll even notice that it's checking it now. So watch this. If I press play, boom. During compile time, it automatically noticed that, hey, look, this is type int. Stop trying to pass in a string.